Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of TonyTalks, where I have conversations with inspirational leaders, influencers, and change makers, people that aren't just doing well in life, but that are doing good in the world. And today it's Saturday, so we are lucky and blessed to have the one and only Brian Bradley of the Egoscue method with us today. He is just in the green room, kind of getting himself set up. And I decided to do this again outside because I did it yesterday and it was so beautiful out. And I decided to do it again, especially because Brian's usually has me rolling around on the floor. So I figured I'd be on the grass today for that adventure. So the Egoscue method is really about helping you align your body with certain exercises for optimal health, optimal performance, and it ultimately ends up reducing your level of pain because you're activating muscles that you don't usually use. And a lot of this actually winds up happening in conjunction, in combination with a lot of different things that we can do. And we've been talking about some biohacks over the last couple of episodes, and today we might touch on that again. So with that said, let me bring him on. He's on screen. Hold on a second. The one and only, the Brian Bradley. What's up, brother?
How you doing, buddy?
If I was any better, I'd be twins, but that'd scare my wife. How's things? Imagine. So I'm outside, as you can see. I've got some of the chickens. I know you didn't like my eggs that I sent you, but you like the honey.
I forgot to tell you. I put them in the big box, and so I put them out by the garbage can, and we forgot to break down the box, and I had to do it the day before I left to take my kid to AZ. And I'm cutting open a box. I'm like, what? Stinks like somebody died, like a human being is back here or something. And freaking stuff spilled all over my garbage cans. And you have to reel those things out, right? And there's like these little maggots.
All right. So for those who don't know, I decided to send a few friends a gift package, right? I was going to send them honey, but as I was wrapping up the honey, I'm like, you know what, let me send them some eggs. And I wrapped the cartons of eggs up really well. Of course, I've never mailed eggs, and most people probably haven't. So I should have probably wrapped the eggs individually, which would have been a pain in the ass, but could have been done with paper towels or something. I just wrapped the container. And fortunately, Brian got them within 2 days. So he just had a couple of cracked eggs. And I don't know if you were able to use the other ones or not, but he got them in 2 days, which was not a big deal. Joseph McClendon, however, he got his 10 days later. And there were also a couple of casualties. He lost 3 or 4 eggs, except there was just holy death because it was 10 days later in San Diego heat. So I had to apologize to him for that for sure. And hold on, let me turn my hat around because maybe we'll do it this way. My face is so dark because of where the sun is. And I sent some to Jan Hargrave, similar experience, and someone else. So in any event, but the honey was good. But now there's no chickens back there running around, but there's the honey. See the beehives?
I see it. Sweetheart.
So all good, man. All good. How are you in windy San Diego, looks like?
Yeah, good. I have this umbrella up. It's slightly cloudy here. Chance of rain. There's no chance of rain.
I love it. Well, yeah. Well, that's it's San Diego, so there's usually not very much rain at all, right?
Very much rain at all.
So listen, I just want to start by thanking you again for showing up and delivering every Saturday with us for the last couple of Saturdays. I appreciate you and how you're showing up in the world and the impact you've made on my life. And again, I was just sharing as I got this started that we've also been talking about some biohacks and some ways and some simple things to be able to improve our life, to be able to improve how our body performs and everything else. And we were talking about zero shoes 2 weeks ago, and look what I got. I've got my zero shoes. Hold on, yep, there you go. These are my water shoes, which I'm going to go into the river and take a walk with them. But I also got walking shoes, which have been spectacular. The walks in the morning have been great. It's just it feels so much different, because you don't usually you walk around barefoot in your house, but you don't usually walk around barefoot on the street with the gravel and the rocks and everything else. And it's great because you walk and you can feel everything, but it's not uncomfortable, and it certainly allows your foot to expand. So it just, honestly, I've been enjoying them. Also got a pair of dress shoes, which are, arguably a little funky looking, but but they're comfortable. So I'm loving it.
The whole world hasn't figured out the beauty of the shoes yet, but it's look, Zero is. I turned you on to him just because I've known Steven for a while, and I love the story that, he heard Pete Egoscue talking, he helped him with something, and then he said, you know what, I see a concept here, and we've been big about barefoot forever. And finally, when Five Finger shoes came out, and then Zero, and then you have the Lems, you have, I don't know if Vibram has their own shoes or anything like that, but they should, since they make the soles for a lot of these. But I wore a pair of the Five Finger shoes in the river out in Arizona. We went, on one of those slow tubing things, and I had to get the hell out of California for a little bit. And we did social distance from everybody. I had about 13 to 15 teenagers in the house, and there may have they may have done a couple ounces of the pub beverage of choice, but they when I say that, it's like when you take these kids to the river, I was literally standing in 113 degree heat, and they're going, Brian, we're going to kill you. Like, what did you get us into? I said, just hang out, guys. Keep your bandanas on, keep your masks on, whatever. We got to the river, and they're like, this is for real. Like, oh, yeah. So they got in the river, and then the rapids started taking them. They're like, holy shit. So it was just get that mind away, because what I'm seeing, Tony, and I know we're transitioning from shoes, what I'm seeing is a fatigue in these young kids that's just kicked in, that I know you have many coaches that listen to this kind of stuff, but if they're not tapping into people's kids, they're missing an entire market. Because flat out, there's a COVID-19 stay home, sequester, social distance fatigue that's going on, that people are, and what's happening with adults, but with kids, when their brain's not as developed, and they don't think the way out of things. Sometimes they just, they act more than think. And I just did this because I wanted to get them out of getting and doing something stupid around here, so it's I guess it's just better to do stupid things in Arizona. I guess maybe that's a better part.
Listen, it's better to just go out and do some what some would consider stupid things out in nature, just because it's, it's such a great way to reconnect with yourself. It's a great way to reconnect with other people that you're with. Oh, we lost Brian Bradley. I don't know what happened there. I'm sure he noticed. He'll jump back on. But yeah, it's such a great way to connect, just to go outside, connect with, as they say, everybody's looking for that better connection, a better internet connection. But, when you're out in the woods, you actually have that connection to nature. You have that connection to Mother Earth. You have the connection to spirit. You have the connection. So how great is it to be outside? One of the thins I do, and you see pictures that I post, and those are just from walking around where I live.
They're so good.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm blessed to listen. It took me a long time to get to where I've got, but it's a beautiful place, and I walk along the river. I can't wait for you to come this side of the country. I'll take you around. It's a really cool place.
Well, that's what I wanted to talk to you about on camera. Is I've seen the movie Deliverance, and I'm not sure whether I'm going to be into that. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen Where You Live.
That's great.
What's the guy's name? Like Warren Beatty or whoever the guy was. I would say, who's the guy that he drove the Trans Am too? What's his name? Real famous. Come on, lived in Florida.
I know who it is, but I'm bad with names, dude.
Burt Reynolds.
What is it?
Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
Burt Reynolds. That's right.
And he's like, holy, you guys gonna have some fun out here. You got a pretty mouth. Yep.
No, it's not.
You're in Jersey.
I mean, it is still New Jersey. We're not in Kentucky, so or wherever that took place. So listen, one of the people. So today we decided that I have a friend who has been struggling with some pain issues. We'll transition right into that, and he's hanging out in the green room. And sorry, there's nothing down there to do, brother, because it's COVID. I don't, there's no staffing and filling in at the end. So
PlayStation.
Bring your own drink. I'm talking to Chris as like he's back there like moving around. This is a great platform, by the way. If you guys haven't used StreamYard, it's great because you can hold up to 6 people, 7 people, and you can keep them in the green room. You can see them like moving around and doing their thing, poke fun at them and stuff. So the reason that we're having to bring Chris on is Chris has already had a back surgery from, and I'm not sure exactly what the backstory is. I'm sure he'll share it. And he was on one of his videos. He also does a show like this in a podcast, and he's been on my show. I've been on his, and I was watching something where he said that he was in a lot of pain and how he's looking into having another surgery. And I wanted to connect him with Brian, and what better than to do this on, I don't know what we got to, I have Marketing Mondays with Scott Martin. We got to call Saturday something.
Sick and Twisted.
6 Saturdays. Boom. And by the way, I told you you're going to like this guy, so I'm going to bring him on. Here he is. It is Chris Roche.
What's up, guys? Good to meet you.
What's going on?
I
So
speaking of, and love your
speaking of Sick and Twisted,
humor. Love bringing the 80s back, doing the mohawk. Dude,
Yeah.
Dude, right on. Thank you so much.
Speaking of Sick and Twisted, Sick and Twisted, I knew you'd fit right in. If you could just increase, I don't know if it's my volume or yours, you might have to tweak your volume because your volume's a little low, at least on this end.
Is that better?
I don't know how to do it better.
Is that better?
Much.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. It might have just been
Awesome.
The microphone was just in the wrong spot, but no.
Where are you located?
Riverside, actually, not too far from you.
Yeah, good. I'm in. That's good. So we're probably only about. My kid's gonna go to Cal Baptist, so he just signed to play soccer there. So it won't be too far away.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah, I was trying to tell them where you were from. I'm like, I don't know, California isn't. It's how big could it be?
The best place to live weather-wise.
It is. It's the great thing is now that I know that Chris is there, he can cover the bail money for me, and then I'll pay him back for my kid. That'll be good.
Or we're gonna need somebody to get us both out.
Exactly.
I'm one of those guys.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good. Well, listen, like I said, I had a feeling that when you said Sick and Twisted, I'm like, well, it's time to bring on Chris Roche because he fits right into the mold with us. So, so Chris, tell us a little bit. I guess you've already heard a little bit about Brian. I led him to Egoscue.com/digital. Don't have to ask you that anymore. So he's already seen some of your videos. He shared some of your videos out already. So I know that he's already a little familiar with what you do and what it is. So tell us a little bit about you, Chris, and how you had your injury and what your injury is about. And, we'll see what the magician here, the doctor, he's not a doctor, but I'm going to say the doctor is in, but he's not a doctor. He is not a doctor, but
Don't insult doctors.
he's a magician. He's a
Thank
magician.
you guys for having me on again. Yeah, basically my story is that I've always just been a hard charger all my life, helping people move, just being the big guy, lifting heavy weights. But the genetics of my family are really bad, I guess, because my mom had a horrible back. I mean, her back just kept crunching and like she got hunchback. But then it was the pain started getting really bad. So I wound up having L3, L4, L5 fused last January. A very wonderful operation that resulted in 6 screws, 3 rods, and a long rehabilitation. But with the assurance pretty much that I was going to be okay. But the problem is that L2 was bulging and also L5S1 was bulging, but they didn't want to do L5S1 at the time because I guess once you do that, you get a lot more shock to your coccyx and your tailbone and everything. So they said they didn't want to do it at the time. But after all my healing and everything, I went back and had another MRI, and they said, yeah, your L5S1 is definitely, you got central stenosis, you got foraminal stenosis, you got it pressing on the nerve, you've got L2 or L1, L2 is also central stenosis, foraminal stenosis, and that's why I've got the numbness. And right now, the biggest thing is I just got this, it's almost like a piriformis syndrome because I've done so much research on these different things. It's like, and I do the piriformis stretches, but it's like it's knot in this ball in my ass that I think they told me it's from the nerves being crushed. So I have an inversion board. I have also, I like do everything. So I'm really looking forward to this, but that's kind of that in a nutshell. So they were talking about doing another surgery. And I really want to avoid that really a lot, but the pain is just ridiculous.
Yeah, but you listen, those are big deals. Like if you're listening to this closely and you're trying to go, well, this guy is better than me, worse than me, symptomatically, everybody has their own symptoms and everybody has their threshold of pain. Excuse me, I think I'm getting attacked by a 1970s biplane or something above my head. But it's an interesting thing to think about. Started off with my genetics are letting me down, or I'm stuck with these genetics. Okay, I'm not going to argue with genetics, but we've taken people from, they've had a bunion on one big foot, on one toe, and it's sticking out like this, and the big toe's heading this way. And I'm like, why do you have the bunion? It's genetic. Show me the genetic code for, bunions. And why didn't the other foot get the idea?
Right.
So when I start to see that, your spine, we have certain makeups and stuff like that. And honestly, that's something that can't be argued with because there's no proof for it and there's no proof against it. It's not like heart disease where you say, okay, look, you have genetic factors in your blood and all these different things. But you're talking about my spinal position is compromised because my mom. I know you're not blaming your mom, but I'm saying, it's a genetic thing because she had it. One thing that I think we need to look at down the road is just crushing that idea, not just by saying, no, you don't, because who the hell am I, right? But I'll tell you what you do is you prove it to yourself. You've always been the bigger guy. You're willing to put in the work. You'll eat a lot of pain before it kicks in and, ruins a lot of things. The big thing is you have to start thinking about, why do I have these symptoms? And why are there days when I feel really good and some days when I feel really shitty? When the same condition is there no matter what. So stenosis is there, spondy's there, fusion's there, bone spurs are there, herniated disc, bulging disc, ruptured disc, they could all be there. But there's a day where your pain is a 1 and there's a day when a pain is an 8. What's the reason?
Right.
And you didn't say, well, I played tackle football yesterday. No, you didn't do that. It's not tackle football. It's maybe my body was misaligned. So I've shown people this picture, many times. He's one of the platinum partners, good guy. And by the way, I just want to let you know that there's a good chance that as I was looking at your picture, that you kind of look like Leif Garrett from back in
That is funny. Run around Stu.
Yeah, like it's you remember that dude?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know all the girls used to love his hair and think he was so hot, and then he wound up being on drugs and MTV and all that other stuff. But he's doing okay.
Stay off the drugs, but I think it's the bandana and the goatee.
Yeah.
I would seriously think about the standpoint of looking at this picture and saying, if this is two different guys, okay, if this is, and these are the same guy, by the way, but if this is the same guy, whoops, I apologize to the listeners. That's the same guy before and after. I get it. But let's pretend they're two different people. Could they have two different symptoms based on that day? Like if day 1 you look like the skinnier guy and day 2 you look like the guy with the rounded shoulders, you might present with two different types of symptoms. Like one day you might be like, my legs are numb, my foot's numb because your shoulders are here and your butt's pulled under where you suffer from no butt disease, stuff like that. Then the next day the butt's kicked out, the arch is there, and my back's more vertical, and you go, I have less pain, but my neck hurts me a little bit. It could be a positional thing that's now affecting the way you feel. So why don't we just try to find the most advantageous place or alignment for you and then see how your body accommodates all those other pathologies or objective findings, because they're real, arthritis and everything else, they're real, but they don't have to be the driver. They can just be part of the narrative.
Cool. Awesome.
Cool. And why are you wearing a Jacksonville Jaguars shirt?
My wife gave it to me. It was her dad's, and she didn't want to throw it away or get rid of it. So I said, if I'm going to wear a shirt, I'm not really into sports, but so I said, I'm going to cut the crap out of it and wear it around the house. So
you might as well. I mean, sun's out, guns out. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah. Why, you're a Jaguars fan or a Jaguars hater?
No, I have 2 of the Jaguars we're working with now, especially their quarterback. What a good kid.
Nice.
Gardner is he was a second string quarterback. Their initial starter got hurt. They put him in and he just went all over the place, just killed it. So they traded their starter and kept Gardner and moved that money around somehow. That's business. But this kid trains like a linebacker. He's out there to be an athlete, not just, hey, how do I be a quarterback and throw a ball? He's literally training like he's, going to be at tight end or at a linebacker position. So we'll see how he does this year. But he's beasting it up down in Naples, Florida. Good kid.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool. Well, it's a little shout out for them.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I'm never a Jaguars fan all that much, but when you work with some players, you're going, okay, I could learn to wear that a little bit. That's what we did with the Niners too. So
nice.
I was a Steelers fan growing up, so I had to be that. Well, let's talk about
perfect, Brian.
Exactly, American. How do we take a look at you, if you don't mind showing us? Like, can you set the camera up somewhere where we can?
Yeah, I kind of did that before, but let's see if we can. So like that. How far out do you want me?
I don't want to see the ceiling fan.
Let's see.
A little bit lower. Okay, now back up as far as you can go. Now, do you mind either tucking your shirt in or taking it off?
Let me take it off. Watch out, don't stick my hand in the...
Let me just be clear, Tony,
like I usually do.
That's not the cue for Tony to go pantsless. Okay, so let's just be clear.
Who said I was wearing pants?
Oh, that's true. Let me see your right side. Turn to the right.
This way?
Close enough.
What?
Can you take a small step to your left?
Did I take a who to what?
Sorry, can you take a small step like back? Is there any further back you can go?
Not really. I could try to switch another position.
I like the wall because that'll work. I'm going to be able to show your footprint. So just angle that down a little bit, and then you'll be able to.
Try to turn sideways. Turn your phone sideways. Well, not that it'll make a difference. But if you turn your phone sideways, Chris.
And tilt it down so you can see the fan.
Yeah, turn it sideways and tilt it down.
Yep, just tilt it down.
Tilt it down as far back as you can. I'll tilt it down a little more.
It might fall over.
Put something,
it might fall over
in front of it. That's the cool part of doing therapy this way is that I get to see people's houses, the difficulties they may have equipment-wise, stuff like that. But we get over that on the first visit.
Yeah, no worries. I'm not shy about shit.
Okay, so turn now and face your left. Yep, good right there. Okay, this is about as good as we're going to get, so stay right there.
Unless, can you have your wife come in and hold the phone? Because he'd like to see your head to your feet.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. Let me go grab her real quick.
Yeah,
she might be.
She won't judge you at all for having two men on camera while you have your clothes off. It's good.
It's just easier because I know you want to get the ankle and you want to get that line. So
look at his head position, how far forward it is.
Hold on a second. Let me get you on camera. Look at what?
Look how far forward his head position is.
Yeah. Over.
Okay. We got a camera person now.
All right. Oh, let me bring you in full screen. The titty shot. Hold on. Let me just get Brian back on for a minute. All right, here we go.
I'm not even going to react to that. Okay, so now if we can just tilt the camera down a little bit.
Can you see me now?
So if you could just tell us what we need, maybe turn the phone back sideways. Because we need to get your head all the way to your feet.
Yep.
There you go. Now tilt it down so we see his feet. Down.
Right there.
There you go.
Right there. Perfect.
Wait, up a little. Let's get his head. Up a little. Up. And stop.
Good. Can I see your side view?
And drop it just a little so we can see his feet. Great.
And your backside.
Show us your back.
How different that right shoulder is compared to his left.
Yeah. Well,
And your right side. Take a small step forward, like you're forward. Good, right there. Back up just a hair. Good. I swear to you, this is the hardest it gets.
This is cool, man. This is fun.
Okay, good.
Now do the Macarena.
You can slip your shirt back on, but I want to show you something. And this is going to be hard to see because, damn it, my camera. Sorry, I'll brighten this up. Hold on.
So for everyone who's watching while he puts his shirt on and Brian is doing what he's doing on his phone, what Brian is doing is he's lining. He's going to draw a line from his head all the way down to his ankle. And he's going to have a vertical and horizontal line to see where his shoulders are sitting, where his hips are sitting, and where his head is sitting in relation to his hips and his ankles, and where his hips are to his ankles and his knees and everything else. So this is going to be an interesting. This is going to be interesting when he finally pulls it up. But because so many of us are off kilter, we don't even realize it. But for example, if you saw Chris's shoulders, one of them was significantly lower than the other. He doesn't feel it, but one of his shoulders is lower than the other, and his head was leaning forward, pushing forward over his axis. So when all of that is happening because of his of basically his hip position and the way that his body is. So, and that's exactly what Brian is pulling up now, and he's going to draw some lines so you can see what the difference is. Then after a few simple exercises, you can just realign quickly, you know, and again, this doesn't take place of chiropractic. I love what Brian says. All it does is makes your chiropractor's life easier, because when you're doing your exercises and you're seeing your chiropractor, it's a lot easier for him to keep you in alignment because you're working the muscles that you don't usually work on a regular basis. So just by doing some simple exercises with your ankles, I mean, I've done some, he's helped me find muscles I didn't know I had. Not because they're like strong, but I'm like, damn, I didn't know I can work out my shin muscle. You know, like he's having me do stuff with my feet that are making my legs from like mid calf down, but on your shin, making them like on fire. I'm like, I didn't know you could even work those out. So here we go. He's ready. Let me bring him on camera solo. Okay.
So I apologize for the color because my computer screen, I forget, on that sepia tone thing. So this is started at your ankle bone, because it's the one thing that doesn't move. So I started the line at your ankle bone, the middle of your knee, the middle of your hip, the middle of your shoulder, and the middle of your ear should be on that plumb line.
Wow.
Look, the middle of your hip right behind your watch should be on there.
And your knees are so far up. Wow.
Now here's the one that's interesting too, though, is the rear shot. Look how different the carry angle of your one shoulder and arm are compared to the other.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
One hand is even further up, like further up in front of them than.
Instead of us judging it, instead what we ought to do is say, well, what's my body trying to tell me? Maybe my body's leveraging that shoulder where it is as part of the righting or wronging mechanism. It's trying to correct its alignment in the torso. The only problem is that your lower back is usually, if I can see that in the shoulder, there's for sure something going on in the hip that is going on that I would say, even if we can't see it, there's some type of imbalance or dysfunction there. Then we go back to the front view, and I want to see on the front view if there's a disparity or something different about, well, just that picture alone. Are your feet even as it relates to one being turned out more than the other?
Yeah, no, you can see that one's turned out. Actually, I felt it when I stood there. I was like, oh, they're gonna catch that.
Well, the cool thing is that, hey, we found something that might be wrong. Hey, congratulations. You know, so this is the kind of stuff that the surgical procedure does not do. Did you do regular physical therapy when you were done?
Yeah, I did that. That's where I learned a lot of good exercises. Got my little rope with the little holes in it for doing all sorts of twerks and weird stuff. Yeah.
Tony, can you bring us back on camera?
Sure.
So I just have a question. You ready,
Sure.
Corey?
I'm always ready.
When's the last time you did your physical therapy exercises?
Oh, geez.
That's all I needed right there.
Yeah, I'm honest. I do exercises, but not all of them. But I do
No,
stretches.
this is Catholic. You don't have to confess. You don't have to confess. But I will tell you is that's the typical answer, because people think of physical therapy as I only do the exercises because I was sick or I was hurt, instead of saying my physical therapist wants me to do my exercises after my event also, but they've got to change the way they educate you. Remember, they're giving you stuff to fix your back when but your surgery fixed your back. What we need to do is get rid of the noxious movement and say, look, Tony or Chris, if you did 3 or 4 exercises every day for the rest of your life in this order, you could literally ward off your next surgery. Otherwise, it's coming.
Yeah.
Otherwise it is coming.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
What's your ability to touch your toes?
I can do it. I'm pretty sure I can still do it. I could do it maybe better before the surgery, but yeah, I can do it. It's not as fast as I used to be able to do it, but I can do it.
Okay, so this is a perfect example of the artist, the doctor, doing his or her job, and then you go home and you think everything is, I'm fixed, until the next thing happens.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to stop from happening. We're trying to get you out of, now you have a fusion at what, L1, 2, 3, or 3, 4, 5? What do you have?
3 through 5 right now.
Yeah, L3 through L5. And then think of right below that at S1, and above that at L2, L3. These 2 points above and below now are going to be hit with the fusion point being stiff. These are going to become hyper in their stress.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have to try to change the body's ability to be, which goes back to your rear view on how one shoulder was, so rounded and out like that. That's part of the adaptation and the compensation, which is not a bad thing. It's part of what's trying to keep you vertical. Mm-hmm. So now we have to just do a couple things to change it around.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Well, let's just try 2 things. I just want to go at your shoulders first just to see something, and then that'll give me some ideas on what I can create for you, and then you can give feedback to Tony, or you can talk about it on your podcast, that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. I'm going to share the shit out of it.
Well, have you done any of our exercises before?
Yes, I have actually. I've tuned in and seen a few of them, and some of them I've done. Actually, I like what you did with the cat-cow differentiation on that, because I know that's one I do now to try to keep the disc limber and try to pop them back in.
Oh,
but
God.
I like that, yeah.
I would love for you to move your phone and let's take a look at that one.
Sure.
Because now we'll do this as the test, and we'll give them 2 upper body exercises, which brings that right shoulder back in, drops the left shoulder back down. Then that'll free up his cat-cow to even be more functional later.
You're gonna have to get further back.
Huh?
You're okay. I'd back the camera up a little bit or something just so we can see it. Okay, good, right there. Now move your body back about 2 inches. Good, right there, and back your hands up a little bit. Now go ahead and show us. Is it, Tony? Are you actually making those sounds, or is that the real dog in the background just because he's doing?
No, I have a real dog in the background. I just know
that's actually my dog in the background. I don't know what's happening with the sound. My wife actually just texted me, stop typing, but I'm not typing. But that there's something going on with the audio. I'm not sure what that is. Sorry about that.
Okay, so Chris, doing that, where do you feel like you're creating the work?
A little bit in my chest, but I mean, it feels good in my back to do that, to pivot that way.
Yeah. So let's just change this. I agree with you a little bit in your chest. That's going to be point number 2. Point number 3 is your head. Point number 1 is your pelvis. So what I want you to do is you're going to tighten up your abs and pull your pelvis or go butt under. Yes, that's your first move. Yeah. Then you go to your chest down with your upper back up, and then your head goes down. There's your, I don't know if that's the cat position. Yeah, that's probably the cat position. Because that would, but now right there, stay right there. Go back up to the cat position. head down, like way down. And then push your back to the ceiling, keep those hips pulled under. And then your unlocking mechanism is to move your pelvis the other direction. So now you're going butt out, then your chest drops, then your head comes up in that order.
Okay.
Chest
Like this?
down, and then head up. No. Stay down. Stay there, but look up like you're a barking dog.
Oh, okay.
You see that head position? Do you feel like you can look straight ahead, or is your head kind of still down a little bit?
My head's like mostly up.
Now rotate your pelvis and hit the pelvis first again, ab contract, and then, so I want you to do just 2 or 3 of these. And what I'm going to do is ask the people watching and myself, I'm already seeing some, you just go back and forth. I'm already seeing some changes in quality. Just go back and forth a couple times like I just taught you. So right there, you should be looking down.
Okay, down this way. Oh, yeah, okay.
And now you go the other way and you go look up. Right there. Now, when you come out of that, your pelvis needs to move first.
Okay.
Then your back, then yes. And back and forth. Pelvis first. Yep. Mid back drops, shoulder blades come together, look up. Good. Now stand up and let's move your camera.
Move my camera to.
You're going to be standing, and I don't care if I don't need to see your lower body.
Okay.
But I do need to, you might want to tell, hey, Tony, can you pull us off screen so we can see all of him? Good. And
All of me.
Yep, let's have you back up a little bit toward the deck. Okay, good. Now in that position, get your feet about 5 inches away from each other at the most, maybe fist width between your big toes.
Oh, you were breaking up a little bit right there. What were you saying?
Get your feet fist width apart at the big toes, and they need to be dead straight, almost 5 degrees, like up to 5 degrees turned inward, slightly pigeon toe.
Okay.
You have that?
Okay. Yeah.
Your
Tweaks
feet.
on my butt.
You what?
I said it tweaks a little bit on that butt muscle, but it's good.
Okay, that's okay. Well, that's good to know, and only on the right side, which I think is the foot that turned out during the pictures, right?
Yeah.
Which is the butt muscle is an external rotator, an outward rotator. So right now you're going to the opposite. You're going internal. So now what I want you to do is put your hands into a fist position with your thumbs up like you're hitchhiking. Good. And now just open up your, get out of the fist and go to more like a open palm position.
Like this?
Give me a visual, Tony. Sorry. So you're here. I want you to go to here.
You were breaking up.
So that's what I want. This is a fist.
Oh.
I want you here.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead back, Tony. Sorry. Okay, good. Now just drop your arms to the sides and just look down at your feet. You didn't change your foot position, right?
Nope.
Good. Put your knuckles against the side of your temples with your thumbs down. Just like that.
This?
Yep, look straight ahead. And now close your elbows together.
Like that?
Yep, together is the key. Together. There's one. I want 30 of those. Go. Thumbs down, thumbs down.
I'm going to do my exercises at the same time.
Put your put those knuckles up on the front of your temples again near the side of your glasses. Yeah, there you go. Try to touch those elbows behind you. And Chris, it should not sound like you're giving birth to twins.
You can hear that, huh? I'm trying to push a football through here for JJ, which I don't have any experience doing.
That's why God gave childbirth to women, because they're strong.
Well, it's getting easier.
Elbows back, elbows back. Yeah, because your shoulder blades are starting to move more bilateral, which means your upper body's starting to change position.
I lost count, by the way.
9 more. I'd keep count. I mean, I'll stop counting when you actually touch your elbows together.
Merciless.
Oh.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
Ready.
Just put your feet wherever you want them. And now just bend over, touch your toes, and see what's easier or harder about that.
Seems a little bit tighter in my lower back, but I can still do it.
Hey, can you tilt your camera down a little bit?
Sure.
And go back to where you were standing. And slowly bend over and touch your toes. And I want Tony to look at your lower back. Go. Look how one side is much higher than the other.
Holy cow.
Come up just a hair. Come up a hair. Right there. Look at that. Look at that.
Wow. Substantial.
Yes, come back up. So that's your back muscle on one side is way up and the other side is flat, which that's okay. That just means, yes, with the fusion, this is why doing some of those cats and dogs, your body's just compensatedly trying to move so much that you've created more imbalance that you're going to try to unwind here. So now let's get you back into the cat-cow position, and I want you to go through those and tell me what the difference is after 30 of those elbow curls. What do you feel is different about the cat-cow?
Let's see. Are we good? Good spot?
Yep, whatever you want. You just go ahead through them just the way we talked about it. Pelvis first, head back, then head. So right there, look up. Head down on that one. Head down on that one. Now go the other way and head up. Now tell me about what that movement feels like back and forth compared to before. Is there a difference?
A lot smoother.
Okay, keep going. Because now you've taken away the compensation to a degree and the adaptation to a degree. You've peeled a layer from the onion away before we can get to the central part of it. And even though it's not like a perfect movement, I'm going, okay, I see some things I fixed. It doesn't matter. Is it better than where it was 5 minutes ago? It absolutely is.
Yeah. Cool. Keep going.
No, you're good.
Okay.
That was your one time, doing cats and dogs on camera. Thank you. We'll have to talk to the Screen Actors Guild. But that's the whole goal is for me to do an assessment real quick, that's all it really needs to be. But Tony, you saw how different his one side of his back was up like this, and the other side was basically completely flat. The right side was so much higher, which corresponds with that's the side where the right foot is turned out, and that's the side that his butt was grabbing him. So we could say, is the right side the problem? I don't know, but right now it's overtaking and become very tight and locked into that position. I think it's a problem. I think it's probably where the generation of the problem is, because your back muscles become that much larger because they're trying to do decades of work that the hip should have been doing.
Yeah. Overcompensating. Yeah. That's my roll. I go to a roll for two times a month. Actually, before COVID, 2 times a month. I haven't been in a while. And he does all that stuff. Like you were talking about psoas muscles. I didn't know what a psoas muscle was until he made me put my foot on the floor and he pinched. And he's like, oh, yeah, if your psoas muscles are super tight, then you're pulling forward. It truly is amazing how it all links together. It truly is. And thank you so much for spending the time and doing this with me. Really, it's just a great reminder to be doing my exercises and to really be taking those seriously, because ultimately, like I say on my show and everything, we have to take responsibility for what it is that we're doing or not doing in our own healthcare, right?
Chris, that's an unfair statement. You didn't even know that you should still be continually doing those exercises from before. I think it was bad education.
True.
How much cooler would it be if your physical therapist called you once a month and said, I'm going to put my boot so far up your ass if you don't get this exercise done. That's where that field truly needs to go. But because they have to adhere to all these medical HIPAA laws, and I'm getting a lot of them to switch over to national businesses, because you can forget that the insurance company knows anything about Chris's personality. Nor do they care.
Oh no.
Which it has to be taken into account. I gotta make sure that I'm matching you, I'm mirroring you in some way if that's how you choose to learn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. Wow. Thank you.
Yeah. No. This is. I've learned enough to see where some of the problem is located. Now what we'll do is we'll get you, maybe 5 exercises. One of them is going to be on your back for a certain amount of time. where you have both legs up over a block. You're just laying there because
Yeah, I saw you guys doing that.
Yes, that's the best, dude.
well,
To re-
Tony, because of how different his back size is on one side, the other, that's going to be a game changer for him.
For 30 minutes? I think that's what you guys were doing it for.
Bro, if you get it done 30 minutes, I'm stoked.
Dude,
My
that
thing is unstoppable, so I'm unstoppable. So whatever I got to do it, I do it. I always make it happen.
that exercise, actually, I sent you a picture of that. I was at a friend's house last weekend, and on Sunday, and I was doing those reverse, I guess reverse lift. No, just on the ground and push it up with your shoulders, dude. And I did that with him, and did the other one, and it alleviated his back pain dramatically. So,
wow.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's like Matt. I told you, he's not a doctor, but he's a magician.
Yeah.
Those little things, and I know I say that to him, and he grins out all the time, but it really is. And you've heard me say this before. When just because the extraordinary becomes ordinary, it's still extraordinary for other people that are watching it. So for you, it's just, Brian, it's just how you live. So it's just every day. But for anyone who's not experienced it, just doing a couple of cat cows and doing a couple of elbow crunches and and doing a couple of things and then feeling the pain or having a level of comfort that you haven't had in a while, it's like freaking magic.
Oh yeah. The things we take for granted, good Lord. I mean, just to be able to walk my dog 4 miles instead of 1, not being in agony, I just realized how much stress you take on in your life. You get used to it and you're tough. But when that pain goes away, you're like, oh, wow, I'm a better person. Like you guys have said it on your shows, how much more effective and creative would you be if you weren't in pain? And I love how you guys speak to that. So thank you.
The thing is, you come out of COVID-19 thinking, it's only been 120 days. No big deal. I'm just going to go back to life as usual. It's not happening. And I don't mean COVID-19 life as usual. We know that's different. We know with the stuff that's going on with the riots, this last thing that happened is not going to go back to normal. What everybody thought was normal before this last killing has changed everything forever in a good
yeah.
Sorry, my dog's attacking people. Good. He doesn't realize he's 6 inches off the ground. Yeah, great.
Isn't that funny? They're the biggest mouths.
They are too. But it was when I'm talking to you about the what's changed is when people go back and think that they're going to go, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week and just do my normal workout. I guarantee you something's going to not be good.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there will be a flip side to that too. People who are becoming so tight in the gym and feeding the imbalance, your lack of time in the gym may have centralized your body back to some sense of normal. Yeah. Now you have a real chance to be more functional after that, as long as you apply for some functional movement to get in there. Somebody was telling me, do I have the Peloton? No, I don't have the Peloton. I'm not a huge fan of biking all the time, stuff like that, being bent over. But if I have to continue living the way we're living now, I'm going to get the Peloton, because for me, I can use it to put stuff up on posts. Like, here's a pre-Peloton workout. Here's a during Peloton workout. Here's a chest workout that you can do in between Peloton that will give you more power when you get on the bike in 5 minutes. These little interrupts for that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think we got to make these changes. But Chris, I'll put something together for you because I know you have a podcast that you want to talk about this kind of stuff. And
absolutely. If you'd be on there, I'd love to have you on there and share this information because people have followed my story and know what I've been through and what I go through. So they're always seeking me. They're always trying to give me different balms or whatever and like different things and CBD rubs and stuff like that. So this would be great to have an expert to be able to share that directly with them and have me as physical proof of what it's doing.
Well, we'll give it a little bit of time. I wouldn't look at me as the expert. I got lucky guessing, but I hooked up with the guy, Pete Egoscue, that Tony had on the show 30 years ago. And I can flat out tell you that if I didn't meet him, I would be one of those guys, guaranteed I would be one of those guys that goes like this, I know and you don't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for sure it would have gone that direction, which led me to meet Tony down the road and all these other people, to actually influence you and be able to influence them. Not this. I meant the real Tony, not secondary Tony.
Big giant TR. I'm the smaller version with the smaller hands and smaller teeth.
Smaller feet.
Yes, smaller feet. You're right. I think he wears like a size 19 shoe. This thing looks like a canoe. Right. Yeah, they auction off one of them usually at a lot of events. It looks like a canoe. It's crazy.
Wow, that's my ultimate goal is to meet Tony Robbins. Just thank him for all the stuff that he's put out, Awaken the Giant Within, all the different things. But it's just people like yourselves who do these things and bring the value to everybody, like what I do. I mean, so thank you guys for doing that, because it's massive and so many people need to hear it and so many people are hearing it. So thank you guys for what you do every Saturday. I mean, I really appreciate it, and I'll be sharing the heck out of it as well, because people need to hear this stuff. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate that. Anybody you can share it with, because there's a lot of people suffering. One, I guarantee you, if you took a poll and just said, who here hurts? 90% of the room goes up.
It goes up. Listen, this is a perfect opportunity to just ask anybody that's watching, share this video, go back. Most of them, I think all of them are actually on YouTube. I think I started maybe episode 3 with you, Brian, that the first couple didn't go onto YouTube, but I'll be loading them in. But go onto YouTube, go onto Facebook, find these episodes, tag your friends, share them out, because there's so many people in pain. So there's someone suffering, and for many, in many cases, all you've got to do is, before you lay down in your bed, lay down on the floor next to your bed with your feet on top of your mattress and lean back and stay there for 15 or 30 minutes. I've fallen asleep numerous times like that. Wake up 45 minutes later, and I actually sleep better. I wake up feeling better because I was able to relax my back before going to bed. So there's so many little tips and little tricks and little hacks and so much information that we've been sharing over the last couple of weeks. Again, share away.
Massive.
Well, I appreciate it, just because we've been lucky, and don't get me wrong, Chris is on here. He's been through the back surgery and stuff, but every injury I've had, it's because I beat the hell out of myself, from a, downhill mountain biking days to 5 years of rugby, which honestly could be the greatest.
Wow.
One of the greatest sports ever. And I do believe every soccer player should take a year of rugby just to man up a little bit.
I agree. I saw live rugby. I was so embarrassed to be from the United States. I was in Australia, and I was at a rugby game, and I was so embarrassed. Like, what's your football? I'm like, yeah, I know, a bunch of pussies.
Well,
strong pussies. But
I will tell you, if you've ever been in an NFL practice field or even in a game, you've never heard human bodies collide like that before.
Oh no, you're right.
It is not a joke to see from a sideline of an NFL game 10 feet away. I mean, you just go, oh my God, that is not real. And then they get back up. They're literally that good. They're that talented, and they're willing to put their bodies through it. The unfortunate thing is I usually see them when they've been through the ringer, and the head injuries and all that kind of stuff. So, the cool part is we're at least giving them a way out of things like that, where they can say, I have a part to do with my future. So, yeah, that's what we were talking about with Gardner Minshew. He's talking to me about performance, and I'm going, no, I'd like your head to be where it is, in 10 years.
Exactly.
Rather than getting beat up. And as a quarterback, you're going to get hit, especially with their offensive line.
Oh, wow. Oh, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, Chris, thanks.
Just a jam-packed hour, and just deepest gratitude.
Yeah, thanks for jumping on, Chris. I appreciate you coming on and usually I'm the guinea pig, and they usually have me like working on muscles. That's why I came out. I didn't know if I was going to be part of it or not. But they usually have me work on muscles I forgot I had. So today it was your turn.
Yeah,
so,
no worries. Enjoyed it. Thank you so much. Look forward to talking to you guys more.
Yeah, and I'll pass on your email to Brian as well. And you can email Brian at egoscue.com as well.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm going to need that, Tony, just to send him some stuff over.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll exchange. Well, actually, I connected you guys on Facebook. So if you want to just do it there.
Yeah, cool. Awesome.
All right. Thanks for coming on, Chris. I appreciate
you guys so much.
You
guys will be watching.
Have a great life.
You too. Thank you, man. I'll talk to you soon.
See you, buddy.
So, yeah, he's a good dude, making a difference as well. And yeah, just like I was saying, man, what so many people take for granted. We take for granted the movement, and there's so many people that are suffering unnecessarily. I was actually sharing again some of the things I've learned with you, because what you've heard me say before. When I learn something, I don't like to hang on to it. I mean, I like to hang on to it, but I don't like to keep it. So I share with people all the time. There's another friend of mine in San Diego that I was having the conversation with him where, I can't wait till the gym opens up again, because this guy's a lifter and he goes to the gym. I'm like, dude, listen, I've been speaking with a good friend of mine, Brian, and this is one of the things that we're talking about is you can't go back and think you're going to go back on and lift the 250, 280 pounds, that you're going to be able to do this and that. You're going to hurt yourself because this guy's already in his late 50s maybe. And I says, you can't do that because you're going to wind up hurting yourself. And then what happens is now you're not going to be able to do any exercise for the next 6 months because you're recovering from an injury, from a torn this or a torn that or a pull this or crack that. So it's so important. And that's something that, we've spoken about before. And I just want to say it again before the end of the show is when this opens up, and it's already starting to open up all over the place. If you're not doing your 10,000 steps, when you get out there, do 3,000 or 4,000, and build back up to it. Otherwise, you don't want to get yourself, you don't want to try to improve your health and hurt yourself in the process, because right now we've not been able to do our regular routine because of the shutdown, because of COVID-19. You don't want to not be able to do that because you physically can't do it because you've hurt yourself. So just go easy.
Message to Brian Bradley.
What do you want to say?
You don't want to try to improve your health, but hurt yourself. That was from the great Tony Rodriguez.
Here's your message. Okay,
so that's a poignant statement to look at people who, they want to get back and they're starting to jump rope and then they blow out their Achilles. Okay, look, I sat in the car for 6 hours yesterday. My right ankle feels like it's sprained today. I'm like, I didn't sprain my ankle. I didn't. But, minimal sleep with, 13 to 15 boys in the house and, for over 3 days and then driving back and forth. The body needs a couple of days to recover before I start going back hard at it again.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, some of the injuries that I've had in my life is because I do go hard, and I have, again, I'm if I'm going out and we're going out and doing whatever it is that we're doing, taking down a tree or whatever, we're biking, I'm not going to stay behind you, right? I'm going to try to stay next to you the whole time. And maybe you're working out all the time and I'm not, and I'm going to be the one that's going to be suffering the next day. So I've learned not to do that. I've learned to back off and listen to my body. I've learned to try to prepare if I'm going to go do something strenuous, to do some stretches, to do some exercise, to be able to prepare myself to do it. And I've learned not to go, for lack of a better way of putting it, balls to the wall when I'm doing something, if I haven't been doing it, because I've paid the price every time that I've done it. So it's so important. And again, so I share that with him, and it's something that, again, I'm learning with you. So one of the things that I want to talk about maybe next week again, and I know we've touched on a couple of these little biohacks and these things that we can use to improve ourselves. I just want to brush up, and maybe we can just have an episode, maybe half the time we're talking about that. And maybe we can do some, obviously, listen, I need you to kick my ass a little bit as well, because, there's just to do some of the exercise that I'm probably not doing right. So maybe just tweak me. Actually, I shouldn't say that, because all I got to do is go back and watch the video. But again, having you kind of like, is always good to do it, because other people are watching as well, right? Everyone that's coming out for the first time that is watching the replay, just to be able to get that. But some of the biohacks that we've been talking about, everything from the Zero shoes to the True Dark glasses that I'm going to be getting, I'm going to be ordering some of those as well, to some of the, I was telling you that I've been taking the ketones that have been helping me with my focus and with energy throughout the day, and not the caffeinated stuff, just the ketones, to some of the vitamins that you've been taking. And again, this is nothing that where any of us are making any money on, but these are just those little things that are helping us. And I've learned and picked up a few from you, and I'm picking up from other places. So I'd love to just have a little episode where we talk about that, and some of the stuff that
I can start off with the June 2nd mailing of the Dave Asprey box. So Dave has a select group of people that they've accepted in for subscriptions, and I think it's like right now it's around 2,500. I don't know if they're going to jump to 5,000 or whatever, but they have a Dave Asprey box that has, say, $500 worth of content and product in there. And this month we're going into the next one, which will be I think it's his second one now. I think it's his second one of this year.
Amazing.
And I think it's like $100 for a subscription. And what I like about it is Dave experiments on all these things, and he might find like, here's a sunscreen that doesn't have blah 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 in it, but works very well. Here's a ketone product. Excuse me. Here's an evaluation by Egoscue that's going into this next one. As a subscriber, you're going to get a complimentary deep consultation for Egoscue to evaluate your posture and over Zoom and blah 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 blah. And look, what's the benefit to me? Yeah, there's a chance that first of all 2,500 people know about who Egoscue is. That's one. Number two is, what if 10% of them say, I'd like to purchase from you guys? What if 50% do it? If 100% do it, I have a problem because I don't have enough therapists to
people, right?
That's a good problem to have during COVID-19. But at the same time, we're all running businesses. We have things to do. Listen, I do this honestly because I love talking to, what you're doing, and I wouldn't do it for a lot of people, let's be honest. But because you're a good dude, you're passing on information for the right reasons. That's why we've met so many Saturdays, and I try to provide as much useful information as possible. Justin Tuck and I, for example, he played for the Giants. I was on my way home from Arizona yesterday, and I called him up and I said, look, no offense, Justin, but I'm calling all my black friends. And I said, I'm calling all my black friends to tell you I'm sorry. I'm sorry because you have kids right now that you have to try to have a discussion with about what's going on in the U.S. And, Tony, the stuff that you're bringing to the table could help. And along with other coaches that are on here, you guys have literally an obligation to help people get through this kind of stuff, because even the white people are freaked the fuck out because of what happened. And very rightly so.
Yeah, there's no words. I mean, it almost doesn't matter what that man would have done, short of like some of the biggest atrocities that could have been done. If you're doing that to Hitler, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I'm down with that. But outside of that,
it never would have happened to Hitler, because if you do an inkling of that in the military, you're done.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's nothing could have that could have happened down the street, short of something catching someone in your house or something. But when the police have a duty and a responsibility to protect the citizens, and who knows what this man's story is, but he wasn't even the first cop on the scene. The back of the squad cars are there for a reason. They're secure. They've already secured this man. Why are you? There's so much wrong with that.
And we don't know that. Okay. But the problem was, when you have and I'm not saying this for any reason, the one of the cops who was there was the Asian gentleman, and people were coming at him, and he kept pushing people back. And they're like, you can see the guy's unresponsive. We're trying to help you. He goes, just back up. Because the situation was starting to escalate. Well, look where it's at now. I mean, America's burning, dude. This is not funny.
Yeah, it was not. It was so unjustified, and honestly, those guys should pay the price. They should pay the price. And I'm not a fan of people of stoking the fire, because unfortunately, there's a lot of from Antifa, and there's a lot of people that are stoking the fire and using this to their benefit, unfortunately, which is actually making things worse, not better, and creating, really making the divide even. I mean, never mind. I heard. Never mind the mayor of New York City today jumping on and saying the people that are using this as a political, obviously it's already political, but those that are using this for political gain, shame on you on both sides. This is a human issue. It's not a red and white, red and blue issue. It's not even a black and white issue. It's a human issue. You just don't do that to people. Not in this country, not in this world.
I was talking to Justin yesterday, and I said, Justin, let me stop you for a second. I said, what's really sick is how many people actually watch the video because they secretly wanted to see the guy expire in front of them. That's what's disturbing. When you love human life, it's and I know everybody on this show loves it because we're all in that mindset of give and serve and all that, so we can feel good about ourselves. But I wrote back on Justin's Instagram because he was saying, I don't know what to tell my sons. And there were some people on there going, I'm no longer a fan of yours. And I'm like, are you listening to what he's saying? He's not saying F white America. He didn't say that. He said, how do I explain what happened to my two black children? tonight who are, call it 7 and 10, when I have to explain to them, not everybody's like this. Now, what I really liked about it, there were a couple cops on there who said, we love you, we're a fan, blah, blah, blah. Not all cops are like this. And he said, I have to have discussions with people too, including my son, that I have to tell him, I'm not a cop like that guy is. So you have to explain to yourself as a cop what differentiates you from another cop. And I'm a huge fan of cops. Like for me, honestly, the flag with the blue line in it, I'd do the whole back of my car with that. I love them. But I also, when I get pulled over, I go, yes, sir, windows down, anything you want. I'm guilty, got it. You have better things to do than pull my lame ass over. But it's the same thing that we look at and go, we've just got to show some respect. Well, you can't just show respect if it's not earned. So there's going to have to be some, I think the activism that's coming on this one is going to be, it's going to have to create some change.
It has. It's enough already. It's enough. I mean, again, we're all human. We all bleed the same color. We're all the same. We're all the same. And the sooner people learn that, and the sooner people learn to just respect each other and love each other more than hate each other. And one of the things that I say is sometimes we got to send a little love to those who hate us. Even send them a little bit of love, or send love to the ones that we don't like, because the world needs more of it, not more hate, not more of this, not more looting, not more. Certainly it needs protest. I agree with the protest. I don't agree with the looting, because that's a whole nother conversation. But
the problem is when you're giving your enemy, quote, enemy, the label of enemy, and you hate him, he's gotten control of he has the actual control of your emotion.
All right. They win ultimately, right? Because they're in control. Their actions disturb your life. So they steal your peace. So who's winning? Right?
Yeah, that's a good one. They're stealing your peace. And in fact, that's untrue. You're giving them your peace.
True. Truth. You are absolutely giving them your peace. And that's how they win. One of the things that, growing up, and, I had a tumultuous childhood. I think I mentioned that to you. And I when I was a teenager, I had thoughts and plans of not being here anymore, let's say. And I made a decision at some point that nothing, nobody, no person, no situation, no thing, I would never give anyone or anything the satisfaction of my demise.
Yeah, could you imagine what your chickens would be like without you? But seriously, there's people who go through that every day.
Yeah.
COVID-19, they're talking, that's why we took these kids out of town. It's not that I was worried about them suicidal, but I'm going, Cole, my son, and all of his friends, I'm going, these kids have got to be, and you could just tell they were just happy to get in the car and drive 6 hours.
Yeah.
And put them on a river for 4 hours. It was amazing. Oh yeah. Man's Search for Meaning. That is an amazing book, Chris. No question about it. That was Tony Robbins said to me, because I told him I was on Bulletproof, and I said, look, I finally learned how to read at 49. He said, good, go get Man's Search for Meaning. And I'm like, I haven't read it yet. He's like, dude, go get that book. And so I went and read it. You read that 2 or 3 times. By the third time, you're hearing different perspectives in there because you missed it the first couple.
Exactly right.
I have a friend who's done the 4 Agreements book. He's on his 48th time to read it.
Wow.
Yeah, because Brady reads a page or a chapter a day. So he's a huge Brady fan. And Tom Brady reads, either a page or a full chapter. But he's read the book 48 times. And, he's not the hothead from Boston that he used to be, which was constantly in fights and stuff like that, until we had some discussions like, why are you giving control to people that don't deserve to have control of your emotions? Just a little bit.
So true.
Yep.
So true.
All right, buddy.
So yeah, get back your control, my friends, and don't give up your peace so easily. Don't give up your happiness so easily. One of the things that Tony Robbins talks about, and I'll kind of leave it with this, is living in a beautiful state. And when he first talked about that, and he was sharing that, and he would ask the question, what's your happiness worth? And he would say that, but that wasn't really moving me. And as he's going through it, I says, and he said, why do you give it away so cheap? And I wrote down, I'm like, shit, how cheap is your happiness? I wrote down my arm and I looked at it, and that pisses me off because my happiness isn't freaking cheap. I've gone through a lot of shit in my life and my happiness isn't cheap. So why am I giving it away so cheap? Ooh, man, that stings, right? That stings. And actually,
You're also one of these guys that you've been through a lot of shit, but you're not one of those guys who wears it on his sleeve, goes, let me tell you why my life is the way it is. You're going, no, it needed to be that way to turn you into who you are now, and you're helping so many other people. So just kill it. I love it.
listen, without a doubt, I say it all the time. We're a compilation of our life's experiences, the good, the bad, and especially the ugly, because it's the ugly that makes you who you are. It's the ugly that actually shapes you, shapes your character, shapes your personality. And then you have a decision to make. Is it going to make you? Is it going to break you? Is it going to make you bitter, or is it going to make you better? Are you going to cower down, or are you going to stand the hell up? And I just chose the latter because for too long, I had too many people trying to keep me down, and too many people trying to stunt or to stop me or whatever it is. And I just refuse. So keep shining, brother. Listen, that's what we do. That's what you're doing. That's what I'm doing. That's what Chris is doing. That's what Jennifer Dalton, that just threw in a heart in here. That's what she's doing. That's what so many people are doing. We're all making a difference. And, we can all make a difference. One person, one voice, each one teach one, as Tony says. And if we can do that, then we can change the world. One person can't change the world. And it happens at times, one at a time. It doesn't have to happen 1,000 or 1,000,000 people at a time. It's one at a time that we do it. So with that said, my friend, I appreciate you, brother. I really do. Thank you again for coming on here. Thank you for helping Chris and for helping so many people that are on here that continue, that are not only just watching now, but are going to watch the replay and hopefully for years to come, because this is gold that you're dropping on us. And yeah, I can't be more grateful for myself and on behalf of everybody that's watching.
On behalf of my entire company, I've talked to them about this. They're like, why do you do that every Saturday? What's your ROI on that? And I'm like, okay, what the hell is ROI, first of all? No, I didn't say that, but what is it when it comes to something like this? It's not like you have to get business out of this. It's about sharing the information. And then, I hate to say it, but if you're focused on the cash, you're in the wrong business with me.
Yeah.
Egoscue would tell you the same thing. This isn't about the money. It's about, you've got to allow yourself to provide and serve and give people back a quality of life. If I wasn't such a wuss, I'd be in tears right now because I'm, talking about that kind of stuff. You have to be that ingrained into wanting to help people, and then everything else will fall into place.
Yeah, I love that, brother. It's just, at the end of the day, there's a term that's used and a lot of people don't understand it. So I try to explain it to people, or I do explain it to people. People say you got to detach. If you want to make an impact, you got to detach yourself from the outcome. They're like, what the hell does that mean? Detach yourself from the outcome. That means you go in to help someone, not because you expect them to do business with you later, but you're going to go in to help them just to help them. And inevitably, they won't all come back and do business with you, but many of them will. So, and I think that's the impact that we make. And that's how we really become impactors. That's how we change the world. And what's the ROI? Listen, what's the ROI for so many of us that are out here doing it? To me, it's the satisfaction of knowing that I'm impacting one life. It's to be that mentor, to be that person, to be that voice that I wish I had 10, 20, 30 years ago. Right. It's creating other leaders. And one of the other things that I talk about all the time is we should all be able to go onto social media, and because we're in the world of social media, especially now with COVID-19, and talk about what it is that we do, who it is that we are, what our gift is to the world, what's our superpower, right? Because so many of us go around in life and in business and we're secret agents, right? We're pretty good at what we do, but not enough people know about it. So I tell people the way to do it is become an expert in your field. And how do you become an expert? Go out and talk about it. Let people know what it is that you do.
And here's one thing they can put in play right now. Go on to other people's social media and do 10 comments a day.
That's it.
So I go on to like Squat University or My TPI or the NSCA.org, which is the strength and conditioning, or NATA athletic trainers. And I'll see some things they're posting. And I said, hey, here's another way to think about it. And I swear to you, I probably have 4 employees right now who came from social media because I pissed them off. And once we got into the discussion, they were like, dude, I got to be part of this. Like, this is stuff nobody knows.
Yeah.
Well, luckily, I ran into a guy who does know it because he doesn't have the blinders on coming out of medical school like everybody else does. He just was like, well, what if? What's the body trying to tell us? So just
I love it.
Back to that. That goes for the mind too. So I'll stay out of not COVID. Okay. I my note.
All right, brother. Well, listen, thank you again. And everyone that's watching, remember, my friends, thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing. And thank you for spreading the message, not just about this show, but about Brian Bradley and Egoscue. It is magic. It is magic. It is a game changer. It is a lifesaver. Listen, as the saying goes, if you don't have enough time to take care of your health now, while you're healthy, you're going to be forced to take that time when you're not healthy and when you're recovering from a surgery. So avoid that. Do what you got to do. Take care of yourself. And remember, my friends, that life is not about how many times you fall. It's about getting up after every fall. And it's in falling down that we learn. It's in getting up that we grow. And every single time we fall, we have the opportunity to get up and grow. So get up and grow, my friends. I appreciate you all. Brian, brother, I appreciate you. And that's it. Ciao for now. Have a beautiful weekend. Talk to you guys Monday for Marketing Mondays. Ciao.